This is the X Factor, but I am not Paula Abdul. And I don't think Simon Cowell is showing up today either. However, we have a great panel, and our panel is all about judging talent. It's about attracting the best people with work-life benefits, as you all know, and it's about the economy, which is an underwriting factor of everything that's going on in the workplace today. And perhaps it's about cutting back, although I'm not sure. And we'll find out. And especially it's about the creme de la creme, those qualities that make a candidate rise to the top of the talent pool. And you all know what an open job means to your company. You know what recruiting and hiring and advancing mean, even in a down economy. But you also know how much it costs to replace talent that jumps ship. So just what is the X factor when it comes to hiring and promoting practices of the Working Mother 100 Best Companies? We're going to find out today. Here we have a stellar, and I do mean stellar, panel of top recruiters. They're all superstars in talent recruitment and assessment, and if you read their bios in your little program, you'll find out even more about them. They're all working parents, and they're from actually there were going to be 4, but we are having 3 panelists today, plus me. They're from 3 of our top 10 companies this year, and they will share their hiring secrets, talent management trends, and other issues as they play out in this environment that continues to be rife with economic pressures. So first, I would like to introduce David W. Anderson. David is Executive Vice President of Human Resources and Organizational Learning and Chief Compliance Officer for Wellstar Health System. David is a 30-year veteran of healthcare management, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how David was actually recruited for his position. He was originally tapped by an executive search firm, and he then met with the CEO and CFO 3 times, once in DC, near where he was working at the time, and twice at Wellstar in Georgia, before he was offered the position. Is that right, Dave? That was 6 years ago, and he's here today. Dave's a husband. His wife has joined us today. She's an RN. In fact, Dave's parents, who are both still living, are also worked in healthcare. He and his wife have 5 children and 8 grandchildren, so definitely a working parent and a working granddad. Please welcome David Anderson. Oh, by the way, Amy, these are very cozy chairs. I just wanted to tell you. They're cozy. So we're going to have a cozy panel. Our next panelist, X Factor judge, is Jana Fallon. Jana is Vice President of Recruiting for Prudential Financial. She started her career in consulting, aligning herself with customers that she could see herself working for one day. Pretty clever, Jana. And that actually worked for her because her biggest client, American Express, offered her a job. Her actual customer at the time from American Express was a single working mom, and she became her boss and her mentor, and Jana then followed her to Prudential, which included moving with her husband and her 2 kids from Florida to their now home in Fanwood, New Jersey. And that was 5 years ago, and here she is today. Jana. Don't you like that music? It's like, ooh. and our final panelist is Stephanie Lilac. Is it Lilac or Lilak? Lilac, yes. Sorry, I wanted to get that correct. She's Vice President and Chief Staffing Officer for General Mills. While at another company, she got a call in 1995 from a headhunter looking for an HR professional for General Mills, which happened to be a company she aspired to work for. So she went for it, and it took a first interview in the basement of O'Hare Airport, a 10-interview day at General Mills headquarters in Minneapolis, several written assessments, and a final meeting in Los Angeles, where the job was based at the time. But she did it! She's now based at headquarters in Minneapolis, where she lives with her husband, Dave, who also works at General Mills, and their 4 teenagers. Please welcome Stephanie. Isn't this a great-looking panel? So we're gonna start out now and talk about hiring, and talk about assessing talent, and talk about what the X factor is. And I'm going to start with you, David, since you're to my immediate left. We know that due to an increase in demand for health care, Wellstar has seen a recent rise in hirings as well as promotions. You did discuss that with me. But we're still in a very depressed economy, and there are a lot of people out there searching for work. So how has recruiting changed in this economic climate? In general, is this a good time for talent to be looking jobs, or what do you say?
Well, what we've seen at Wellstar, especially over the last several years, is several key changes due to the economic downturn. One is just the sheer volume of applications and applicants that we have for the limited number of position openings. For example, this last fiscal year, which ended June 30th at Wellstar, we had over 200,000 applications for about 3,000 position openings at Wellstar, and that was an unusual year. We had more position openings than normal. So if you do the math, that's 60 applicants for every 1 position that we had open, and we're really anticipating this year that we'll have less position openings, and that ratio will climb to be more than 100 applicants for every position opening. The other thing that we've seen in this economy is that a lot of our team members, our employees, are postponing their retirement. And in healthcare, that actually has helped, because we anticipated several years ago to start seeing a shortage primarily of nursing. And many of those that are postponing their retirement because of their, as we heard earlier, 401k balance has declined. Yeah. Again, our nurses, and that has at least postponed the nursing shortage. We're also seeing applicants applying to come to work at Wellstar from other industries because they're looking for stability. So that's been, they're looking for stability in healthcare. So that's been an advantage for us in our search for top talent, both leadership and non-management. So to answer your second part of that question, I don't think it's a great time right now, especially just taking the healthcare example, to be looking for work. It's a very competitive market. A lot of our even competitors in healthcare have frozen hires. We've seen layoffs, and so it's a very, very tough market. So I think when you look at those kinds of ratios of applicants to position openings, it's really important for applicants to do what they can do to decrease the odds. If they can even get to an interview situation, typically that's going to be a 5-to-1 ratio versus that 60-to-1. And then they need to really be prepared. At least we can have the other recruiters that probably know more than this HR guy about the recruiting process, but certainly dress professionally for the recruiting, do research on the organization, understand the organization's vision, mission, value statement, what goals they're trying to accomplish, and then come in and sell yourself, sell your soft skills, but sell how you can help that organization. And also, I think it's important to use some etiquette, just some standard etiquette. Don't dominate the interview. Don't ask questions about benefits or compensation at that time. There'll be time later, to do that. Understand as well that a lot of the questions anymore that you're going to be asked during interview processes are going to be about the softer skills versus it's a given anymore that you're coming in with the job knowledge. But because of the competitive nature of of the climate today, employers can be more selective than we are, and we're looking for individuals that have those soft skills.
Did you say 600 to 1?
60 to 1.
60 to 1.
Ratio.
That's almost as bad as show business, you know. Seriously. So, you know, we know, I mean, it is a tough market, but we do know that the 100 best companies have been hiring. Last year, they hired 170,000 women and 177,000 men. So, Jan, I want to ask you, Prudential asserts that talent has no gender and that expertise has no ethnicity. Yeah. So with that in mind, what are companies now looking for? And how has that changed, if at all, in this particular economic climate?
Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate you referencing a new campaign we have targeting.
I thought it was very interesting.
Thank you. Targeting a diverse talent pool. So similar to David's experiences, it is a competitive marketplace. I wish I could sit in front of you and say it is a fabulous time to be on the job market, but the tables have turned, and organizations have the ability to be highly selective. And so for those candidates, in David's instance, 1:60 ratios, we deal with 175 to 1 ratios. Any given week, 5,000 people will apply for approximately 300 positions. Wow. So we're getting in the door, 5,000 applications. Any given week, we'll hire 40 of those people. So it is a difficult time to be looking for a position, but there are key strategies that applicants that are successful are employing. We've mentioned the power of networking, the ability to make a connection with another human and not just the piece of technology that we've put at our front door for applicants to go through. The ability to network and have a connection is a key success factor. Those applicants that get noticed by the recruiters get noticed because they know someone, they've made a connection, or they've made themselves known to either the manager, the HR person, or the recruiter working that requisition. And so those candidates that make it do so because of the work that they've done, those connections.
So Stephanie, General Mills certainly figured out how to attract and retain talent, as we know, and talented moms as well, because you've been on the 100 Best Companies list, I believe, 16 years? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. So how do you at General Mills find the cream when there's so much talent available for work?
Yep. So I think it's a two-way street. I think, first of all, is making yourself a company that the best people want to work for. And so we spend a lot of time thinking about that, communicating that, understanding what the needs are of the applicants that we're looking for. But then it's about the other piece, filling the pipeline. How do you meet people? And a lot of it is about relationships and finding different ways to find the very best talent. And I would say our number one way of finding the best talent is through our own employees. And so we do things, for example, like Bring a Friend Night, where we will open up our corporate offices. Employees are invited to invite their friends who might be looking for jobs to come meet with my team and the hiring managers from the different functions in the company. We've had people fly in from New York for our Bring a Friend Nights. And so having a way to find those very best people, and we think through our employees who we think are great, is a surefire way to do it.
So you got that, everybody? If you want to go work for General Mills, you just have to meet somebody who works there, okay? Because I know you're all I know you're all incredibly talented. Do you want to follow up on that a little bit, Janet?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. That is what keeps recruiters employed. So, you know, we've all referenced the high volume of applicants, a lot of people that are looking for employment in their next position. The job of the recruitment function in the organization is to assess those candidates and find the ones that are the best fit for your organization and for your positions. At Prudential, we've found that the most successful hiring decisions are those that balance both the art and the science of hiring. And so from an art perspective, there is a place for managers and recruiters to use gut instincts and intuition. As a psychologist, I've been trained in the science of selection and understanding the use of rigorous tools, assessment tools, interview techniques, trained managers, behavioral interviewing. So certainly science has a place in successful hiring and determining who really is the cream of the crop, but balancing that with human intuition, understanding connections, understanding cultural fit, understanding the needs of the team and what that person, that individual has to offer. So I think that's how we have most successfully determined the cream of the crop, balancing that art and science.
So it's like going with your gut based on that knowledge that you have.
Based on your science, exactly.
Which is, I think, a good rule for so many things, for so many decision-making things in the world. Stephanie, do you, how does someone stand out to you in the interview process? And how would you recommend that someone actually engage the recruiter in this tough market?
Yeah, I think it's important, frankly, to be targeted. I see a lot of people scattershot and apply for 30 positions, for example, on the website. And frankly, I think the best way to find a job is to be very targeted, to do your homework, to know what's expected internally, to make sure that you've got the skills that align to that job. And the great ways to, you asked earlier, how has recruiting changed over the last few years? I think a lot, so I think the economy has affected a lot of recruiting departments around the country, and they have become very lean, very overworked organizations in many cases. And so that has given rise to social media in recruiting. It's a very efficient way to get to a lot of people. And you should be able to find recruiters through those networks, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's a company's Facebook page or their Twitter site, and make a connection with those recruiters. And they're listening. And so it's having that personal connection and being persistent is important.
So social media is an ever-present factor, isn't it?
And I've been in the recruiting space for just 3 years. The difference from 3 years ago to today in terms of how we're engaging and using social media and how it's getting used more broadly in recruiting is pretty incredible.